welcome to the Breadwinners. I'm Jennifer Owens.
I'm Rachael Ellison.
So this is the show where we talk about everything work and family, and where every day can be a holiday if you're only working 4 hours a week. Which only, that leaves you plenty of time to follow us on our socials, which are across them all at the Breadwinners. Please send questions and comments our way. Seriously, we're everywhere, and we love it if you support us by suggesting us to your favorite breadwinners, because honestly, that's the best way to support our podcast, is to help us grow.
Absolutely. And while you're on your vacation, you can wear our merch, our fantastic t-shirts and sweatshirts, and we've got all the merch. I am not wearing one right now, but I was wearing one yesterday.
Wearing mine today. I wore it in honor of you.
Oh, thanks. So please check out our merch, and we'd love to see pictures of you in.
Oh my God, I was just thinking. See, we're just so on same. I was just thinking we need some fresh pictures of us, and all of us breadwinners wearing some breadwinners merch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
We're on it. So how's your breadwinning going?
Oh, winning the bread. Got a fresh loaf of bread in the other room.
Oh, very nice. I love it. I hope that was, a metaphor, and that's actually a big steaming pile of cash.
It was not. There's literally a friend brought me a nice loaf of bread yesterday. It was very nice.
Oh, that is very nice.
Yeah.
I have a lovely person who used to be on my team at a previous job who not only made me a lovely loaf of bread, but put it in a lovely loaf of bread bag. And I love the bag so much.
Oh, nice.
The bag stayed with me. So there you go. Should we make this the bread podcast? We'll just talk
about bread.
If we're just talking about bread. So anyways, well, this week we are rocketing fast into something, we all know about bread winning and breadwinning. And so this week it's the work week, and it's the 4-hour work week. And so I'm going to hit you up. What do you know about the 4-hour work week?
I know that it's a book.
I'm holding it right here. Can you sense that I'm holding the book right here?
I can sense that you're holding it. I know that it's a sensation.
Yeah.
That's about all I know about the 4-hour work week.
Here is how little I knew about it before doing the research today. I thought it was the 4-hour work day.
All right.
Yeah. But, it is, you're right. It's the 4-hour work week, and it is based on a book, and it's called Hold on your chair. It's the 4-hour work week, Escape the 9-to-5, Live Anywhere, and Join the New Rich, written by Tim Ferriss.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. He has big plans for us with this 4-hour work week. So, he is described on the book jacket as a serial entrepreneur. So, really, I love him. And so I'm going to talk us through a little bit about the book itself, also about what he's talking about and how he's talking about it, and then a little bit about him, because he's a very interesting character to it. Do you know much? Well, we'll get into Tim Ferriss a little later. So our story begins in the aughts, as in March 2007. And that was another dot-com boom. I was there for the first dot-com boom, but we remember that dot-com boom because no one ever learns their lesson. You got to boom and bust all the time. So he went to South by Southwest, the totally hipster conference. Have you ever been to South by Southwest?
I have not.
Me neither. Have you ever wanted to go?
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I know. Me too. I've always wanted to go. But anyways, he was there in 2007, and he was telling a room of super stressed, caffeinated, drinking Soylent Green. Or it was Soylent. It's not Soylent Green, it's people. Soylent was do you remember they made that drinking stuff? I don't know if it still exists. You never leave your desk. You just drink this stuff. So a bunch of engineers, he was telling them that their professional lives were unstable and unsustainable, and that they should consider doing something more interesting with their time.
Okay.
And so, he's come from the future to tell them what you're doing is awful. And if we remember, this is the time of bring your dog to work. We have the cafeteria. We have, the kitchens and you dry cleaning and hair salon. You never have to leave the office. Come in, work 24/7. If you sleep under your desk, you're, wow, aren't you great? So his book hadn't come out yet. And he was a last minute book for the event because someone else had canceled. And he knew that he was talking about something that was completely contrarian to everything that South by Southwest was all about at the time. But he thought, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, which
Right.
is truly my new mantra. I mean, hey, if it works, it's great. If it doesn't work, I mean, what are they going to do? Throw rocks at him? I don't know. But his talk resonates with the packed room like almost instantly. And word of mouth from that event was the seed that led to book sales and more book sales. And he worked super hard. I mean, he is still a master of self promotion, which we all should be. And he has thus sold millions and millions of this book. And it stayed on the New York Times bestseller list for 7 years.
Wow.
And that is the end of my story. This is a very short episode, and all's well that ends well. Oh, cracking myself up. I think, though, that this is a great moment to take an ad break, and then we'll come back and I'm going to tell you about Tim Ferriss.
Cool.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Growing a successful business has never been easy. But whether you're navigating a complex industry or trying to reinvent one, our breadth of banking experts are here to collaborate on market-proven solutions. At KeyBank, we're built to grow with your changing needs because we're not just here for the business you are now, we're here for the business you'll become. Reimagine business as usual. KeyBank opens doors. Learn more at key.com/B2B.
And we're back.
Hello.
Hello. So we're talking about the 4-hour work week. And we're going to go back now because, now his book has sold millions. And we're going to ask, who in the world is this guy and why he was 29 at the time? Why was he talking about 4-hour work weeks? And specifically, why would anyone care that this random 29-year-old would say this to you? So do you know anything about Tim Ferriss? Because he's kind of a legend in certain quarters.
No, I don't.
Oh, interesting. Because that was the same too. Because you hear certain people talk about him, because they follow everything he does, and then I'm like, I don't know who. I think I completely missed this. I think I was too busy having kids when all this was happening. Okay, so here's his quick backstory. Okay, so he was born in East Hampton, 1977. In his sophomore year, he got himself, his family, he got scholarships. They worked to get him into an elite boarding school in New Hampshire. And he finagled travel year abroad in Japan. I find this all wonderful as someone who has a child that is doing travel abroad for the first time.
Yeah.
Desperately wanted to go to Japan. Also, my daughter will be taking Japanese next year. I kind of love it. I totally get this guy. So he attended Princeton and he majored in East Asian studies. And he also struggled with bipolar depression.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love it. I mean, I don't love that for him, but I just love, he seems very real. Like, he's dealing with all this stuff. So after graduation, he jumps into the tech boom. And he launches a company called Brain Quicken, which was an athletic supplement company. And he gets invited back to Princeton to talk for an MBA class. I think it's an MBA class. Anyway, it's a business class. And the speech he does is called Drug Dealing for Fun and Profit, which hilarious. And so he's, he's coming back as a startup guy and look at me, I graduated and I started my own company and all that sort of stuff, which as we remember, this must be the era where you still graduated and did your startup as opposed to dropping out of Stanford and starting Facebook or,
Right.
or that whole thing. So he becomes the kickboxing champion of the world in 1999, not by practicing, no, but by researching the sport's rules, uncovering a technicality that states that contestants who step out of the fighting ring 3 times are disqualified. So he uses that knowledge to figure out a way to wriggle his body in such a way to get his opponents to step out to do that. And so he uses the rules against his opponents and wins. And so he's not much loved in the sport, but he in 1999 he is the winner of the sport. So, okay. So by 2004 his business has stalled and his personal life has hit some bumps and he took time off to travel and he found this is going to be the aha moment for him that without micromanaging his company all the time and by cutting his work down to just his best customers, his company started to thrive.
Mm.
And so he was discovering, the general, like what they always, the 80-20 rule, like 20% of the kids in a classroom will require 80% of your time or at work with your employees and stuff. So he began compiling the lessons around efficiency and planning that he had learned from both his own struggles. And that, of course, turns into the book. And then he goes around, tries to sell his book. He gets countless rejections. And he finally finds, a publisher to take the book. And no one expects it to do much. But so to improve his odds, he works to get his book into the hands of tech influencers. And their endorsements help build hype. The book blows up. He's everywhere. And he takes his earnings from the book and invests in tech startups. And he expands his own 4-hour view into a franchise. So there are variations. So now he has like 4-hour body, the 4-hour chef, tests the ideas on himself. He has a short-lived TV show. In 2014, he launched a podcast called The Tim Ferriss Show, which is very, very popular.
Wow.
Just like us, has generated more than 200 million downloads. So, hardworking guy dealing with professional and personal work and needs and problems and successes and all that sort of stuff, but worked really hard and came up with it. So that's who Tim Ferriss is. There's also a moment where he wins like some major tango competition too, because he only works 4 hours a week. So he has a lot of free time. So are you ready to learn how to work 4 hours a week?
I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. I know, me too. So I've read the book and did a lot of research around this. So let me just say it took me a lot more than 4 hours to read it, even though he has a whole section on speed reading to try to help you get through stuff faster. Took me a long time. And I'm not sure why it took me. It's not fun. It's not, I'm reading an awesome book about an 89-year-old protagonist who takes matters into her own hands out of Sweden. Love that book, called The Elderly Lady Should Not Be Crossed. Totally read that book. It's so much fun. I love it. I want to be 89-year-old lady taking care of business. But I don't know. It took me a really long time to read this book. But the book continues to sell, but it's driven a lot more by productivity than it's in hacks. Like he has a lot of things about how to he's big into virtual assistants. He's big into remote work. But his overall message was, we need to rethink work. We need to think about flexible work. And he spent a lot of time talking about, it's so funny now, talking about how to get your flexible work plan through to your boss. And it's like he gives you scenarios on how to ask for it, how to pilot it. And his basic premise is work remote, get a virtual assistant, and don't micromanage. Give your assistant and the teams and the vendors and the whatnot the authority and the guardrails to make decisions on their own, which I am all for. I should have been able to read this book faster because I do agree with all that. But then his last point, as my old compatriot Lucy Knight always said, teach him to go on the paper, meaning that he sets up firm times that you will work and answer emails and don't break your own rules. So I'm going to give you a big quote that he says about that. But he's essentially saying, teach them to go on the paper. So here it comes to you.
Just because something has been a lot of work or consumed a lot of time doesn't make it productive or worthwhile. But you don't understand my situation. It's complicated. But is it really? Don't confuse the complex with the difficult. Most situations are simple. Many are just emotionally difficult to act upon. The problem and the solution are usually obvious and simple. It's not that you don't know what to do. Of course you do. You're just terrified that you might end up worse than you are right now. I'll tell you right now, if you're at this point, you won't be worse off. Revisit fear setting and cut the cord.
I mean, he does do a lot of come to Jesus moments for people.
He does.
He says life should be enjoyed. He's not about, and he's not against fibbing to make it happen. I'm going to give you that one in a second. But what do you think? I mean, he's basically saying, if you want to make a change, make a change.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he is. What do I think about it?
Yeah.
Fear setting, I'm sort of stuck on that phrase, fear setting. But, I mean, I think that's great,
I think this is what slowed me down in the book so much, because that's great, but yes, ma'am.
Like, all right, it's great,
yeah,
but it's, it's sort of a Tony Robbins approach to things.
You can make it happen. You can do it. Yeah. Well, okay. So he does have people talking. Through the book, he'll have people tell their stories a little bit. This is my favorite one. There are some really good ones. This one's a little over the top. Admittedly so. But okay, here it comes to you.
I spent 4 months prior to departure being sure to never be at my cube, but always just be around the corner. I made a point to always be available on Instant Messenger. So when people would walk over to my cube and look for me in person, they would see I was somewhere else and then hop online and ask, "Where are you?" The response was always similar: just down the hall in the cafeteria, just down the block at a coffee shop, or at a coworker X's desk. After 2 months of this, a magical thing happened. People always looked to get me via Instant Messenger and stopped dropping by my cube altogether. That allowed me to be 6,000 miles away without anyone noticing. All right.
I mean, what? What? I mean, what? Okay. I love this. I also, can you even imagine?
Nope.
And, the core of FaceTime should not matter. When talking a lot about it during my working mother days was about, this premium on FaceTime. Now, what's funny is that I work fully remote. It's up to me to go into the office. I'm going in the office 1 day a week. Kind of love it. I have a group of peers that we get together and have lunch together. And I miss that. And and a lot of my calls are remote, and yet still I'm enjoying going in 1 day a week. Okay. But so it's a whole new world from when he wrote this book in the early aughts. But what? I just think if my boss at, like, say, Working Mother Carol Evans was like, "Where are you?" I think she'd want to know I was 6,000 miles away. And she pioneered flexible work.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you do if they're like, "Well, we need you in for this meeting"? Is this guy never in, or man or woman ever in meetings? I don't
know.
I don't know. I just, what?
It's a little what? It's a little what?
So I don't know. So his thing is that you can't. So he, as an entrepreneur, and he's talking, like this, as an entrepreneur, what he's saying is he has tiers of virtual assistants. And it's so funny because he's like, "Oh my gosh, you could do all this stuff," which was all brand new, like 15 years ago. Totally get it. So, but, he's saying, what I love is he says to the assistant, like, "Here's a cash number." Or to his salespeople selling the supplements and all this sort of stuff. If making a customer happy costs less than X amount of dollars, go ahead and do it. We don't want to spend all day trying to make our customer happy when you giving him like a refund or whatever, it just makes it happen. It just,
Yeah.
and you give these people autonomy to be great at their jobs. And so I'm all for that.
Yeah.
And then he has things where he has these whole scripts because to his credit, he's very transparent about how he's talking to his assistants. Like, hey, when I say call me with the answer, I mean call me because I'm probably somewhere that doesn't have Wi-Fi. Because again, this is 15 years ago. Like
Right.
he's showing all this sort of stuff. But I don't know. And then one of the things, oh my God, one of the things he does talk about, because I don't believe he has kids when he's writing this book. I don't know that he has kids now, but he doesn't have kids. But he's like, no, you can totally do this with, as an entrepreneurial person working for someone else. Pitch this as a thing or pitch it as a part-time thing, and your cost of living goes down because you're in Blees or something. And so,
Mhm.
the cost, your expenses to your revenue, it balances out. Okay. You got me on all that. When he talks about now you're a parent and you're a working parent, one of his answers is homeschooling.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I think a lot of us have comments on that in remote learning now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, all right. Homeschooling. This is sort of doing my head in a little bit.
Yeah. I also, having gone through that, no to the homes, not for us, remote learn and homeschooling in terms of, like I have friends who've done homeschooling where they're part of a network. They do field trips together and it's not just remote learning. He's really talking about remote learning, right?
Right.
That you could pick up and go live. Because what one of his points that he makes is a lot of us, because we only get, if we're blessed to have some paid time off, we'll go binge travel. Like we're going to go, we save up all our money. We're going to go to Italy and we're going to go to 5 cities. And what he says, he likes to call them mini retirements. So you pick up and you go 4 months and live in Italy or 4 months and go live somewhere else. And you learn the language, be part of the culture. And funny because now it's with Airbnb and we do like, it's funny. Technology is kind of caught up with what he was advocating for. So, go these places, travel, write a book, learn a language. That's what he does. He gets up and he goes. And he also says, homeschooling with your abundant free time. So, yeah.
All right.
I think I have real issues. You can hear I start to get like, I think travel for kids, I think living in other cultures, awesome. It's
Yeah.
not for my family. It's just not. I just having uncertainty and change, with family structures as a kid, I've swung the pendulum to be, we live in the same place. You go to the same, we're just stable all the way.
Right.
But I do see the awesomeness of it, but I don't know. I just desperately wanted my social world and my friends when I was that age. So
Yeah.
I don't know. If you could, do you think you would get up and like move to another, like if some is like, hey, here's a job, go live in Bruges for a year?
Yeah. I mean, it's totally logistically impossible for me right now, but like, yes, I would.
Would you really? Good for
Yeah.
you, man.
I lived as a kid, I lived abroad with my family when I was 11.
Really?
It
Oh,
was,
okay.
yeah, it was an intense experience. And
11's an interesting age, right?
yeah,
You still have like, you have a social world, but it's a fluid social world, maybe? Did you have like a best pal?
who was there with me?
No, did you have a best pal like at home that you were
Yeah,
kind of leaving? Yeah.
yeah. It was very cute. My best pal made me like a tape recording that she sent of people
Oh,
saying hi to me from school. But yeah, no, it was an amazing experience. I just feel like it's a gift if you're able
you
to have
pull it
that.
off. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I could ever do it, but I definitely think it's worthwhile to do for sure.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, yeah, it's like it's just not for us at this
Yeah,
point.
I get
And
it.
instead, it's like, okay, well, I'll send my kid off to go to, study art history in Italy. This is going to be exciting and
Yeah,
expensive. That's why we're winning bread. So, anywho, that's what his And his thing is that you would do it and have abundant free time together while you did it, and he's right. You can certainly, if you can take your isn't that the dream? You get the job in New York and then you move to a cheaper place and you keep
Mhm.
the salary, right?
Totally.
So that story about the guy who just kind of slips away, what they call the Irish goodbye, they just slip out of the room. So it's unfair to just say that's the only story. There are a lot of really great stories and people talking about their, like, this particular hack worked for me. But what has become of his brand in those many years is that whole like reworking work, because it starts from this kernel that says, why are we answering all these emails? Why is everyone being CC'd on this? Why are we sitting in these meetings? Is this meeting productive? And just constantly being hardcore about, how they always say you should have an agenda for every call and
Yeah.
every meeting. Do you do that?
No.
Yeah. I kind of try, or obviously I don't, because I'm starting to mumble at that point when I'm like, so, but his brand has kind of been, it's been reduced. I'm sure he's very successful, but it's kind of turned into the productivity hack thing.
Mhm.
So in 2019, Forbes called his 4-hour advice, quote, everything wrong with the modern world, because
Whoa.
I know, right? I mean, that's kind of bold, but because it contributes to the idea that people's success is about, quote, figuring out how to most attractively package their shortcuts and fake outs more than actual accomplishment. And so I'm sending you this quote from Tim.
The 4-hour work week is based on the title, understandably, often misunderstood. The objective was to provide a toolkit for maximizing per hour output. It's not necessarily about working 4 hours a week. You could choose 2 hours a week, 1 hour a week, or 80 hours a week. But the reason that book found such a toehold in Silicon Valley is because it was focused on evaluating different currencies, money, time, mobility, and how you can pull levers to change these variables to maximize per hour output. That toolkit was very much time and income focused.
Right? I mean, and so they immediately, I don't know if people, I don't know, his rallying cry was time is valuable too.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that.
And he's right.
Yeah.
It's just all our time right now still goes to small children
Right.
for us, So I feel like I don't fault him. I love him being out there and saying this, and being a young guy and saying, being a young white guy and saying this, because
Mhm.
they're not typically the rallying cry leaders for that kind of like remake the workplace. But, I like what he's trying to say. And don't we all read the book and look for the one tip you can get? I mean, that's on us. He wrote like hundreds of pages, and then I'm like, oh, that one tip, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And then he's built a business on it. So, he has not reworked the workplace doing this because capitalism, but, and then tie that to the fact that, at the beginning of the pandemic, you and I would talk about that. Like, we hope that some of this stuff has a lasting impact on the workplace, and maybe it will, but then you see all these businesses rushing people back into the office. Now, I don't know what it's going to take to really crack the workplace.
Yeah.
So it just, another voice, another voice, another voice. Like, how many voices do you need to say that giving people autonomy and flexibility, highly productive? It just always, and happier and whatever. So what is up with Tim today? His most recent book is Tribe of Mentors and Tools of Titans. Love it.
Mhm.
He is, which crowdsources wisdom and advice from the experts he features on his podcast. Love it. Love repurposing your content. Very smart. He's also become an ardent backer of research into the therapeutic benefits of psychedelics. He's raised funds for the Center for Psychedelic and Consciousness Research at Johns Hopkins and for the Center for Psychedelic Research at Imperial College London. He has donated, since 2016, has donated at least $2 million for clinical research into psychedelic drugs. Love it. Like I love like looking at new ways to deal with depression and
Yeah.
and that sort of stuff. During the height of the pandemic, he also revealed that he's been experiencing flashbacks and revealed that from the age of 2 to 4, he was sexually abused by a 12-year-old son of his babysitter.
Whoa.
So he's dealing with stuff and talking about stuff and just keep moving forward, man. And he's working now on how to get comfortable with yourself. In a 2020 interview with GQ, he said, "Not everything that is meaningful can be measured."
Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
That said, I've been wearing a tracker recently, and I love what I see about my sleep, and it really influences me. So I don't know, but he's right. I mean, how are you going to track, how you're feeling, the repressed memory? Like, you're not going to track that sort of stuff. But I thought I'd give him the last word. So here he comes to you.
Okay. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter how effective or efficient you are. It doesn't matter what types of fancy toys you collect. Doesn't matter how hot your significant other is. If your inner world, your internal monologue or dialogue is that of anger or despair or frustration or sadness the majority of the time. Almost none of these other things matter very much. You can't wield money or time effectively. You can't deepen relationships, repair relationships, de-escalate instead of escalate conflict unless you have a certain degree of self-awareness, emotional resilience, and emotional acceptance. That only comes, in my experience, through transcendental, transformative blocks of time, touching the timeless in a sense, where the ego is dissolved, or because I don't think those are necessary or recommended for all people, using a toolkit to cultivate that. Without a baseline of psycho-emotional health, all of that is for naught. Okay.
I kind of love him. I just think he's constantly trying to grow. And I think part of his 4-hour work week is to say, spend time with yourself.
Yeah.
And that, it's very easy to fill your day. And I do think of him in that regard, like, answer emails. Because look at me, am I not? He calls it work for work's sake, W for W. Like, am I just W for Wing it? I think he's right.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I'm kind of a fan. I think if you want to just pick up his hacks, that's on you. He's thinking bigger thoughts.
Got it. Cool.
So yeah, so with all your abundant free time now, everyone can check out our socials. And that's it. And what should we do with our abundant free time?
We should keep hustling.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.